Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Now, I don't usually do these upcoming videos, especially new tanks now, because most of the time I do test. So obviously during testing, you're not allowed to make videos. So I thought I would do this before we start testing, before the tanks are released. Now, we don't have too much information on the tanks at the moment, but there is a new tech tree on its way, and of course it is the Polish tank destroyers. Now, these are coming at the end of summer, so you know, probably the end of August. The update, I think, maybe this week, so you might be after the next update. So they're coming very soon, and the reason I really wanted to make the video is because it does feature a unique mechanic which we have not seen in the game, and to be honest, I'm very much looking forward to it because it will definitely change the play style of some of these tanks. So of course, without ado, we are talking about the Polish tank destroyers from tier 5 all the way up to tier 10, and they don't look the part. Honestly, they don't look the part, but I'm sure they will be very, very good. And again, it all depends on how you play the tank. So we're going to look at the tanks, and then of course, as you already know the feature, we will look at the feature or the new mechanic at the end of this video. So coming in at tier 5, now I do have to apologize for my pronunciations of these tanks. I'm not very good at pronouncing Polish tanks, so I do have to apologize. So any Polish people out there, I'm sorry. So coming in at tier 5 is the STB40 Zadymka. Honestly, I don't know. Now, of course, the lower tiers of these probably are not that well armored, but it's the further you go up the tier, the more armor that will probably be. So tier 10, you're probably looking at very, very good armor. So this tank looks horrible, I'm not gonna lie. It probably is paper thin, but I'm sure it has a decent gun. You know, time will tell, but I'm sure tier 5 won't be the best tank on the list. So moving on to tank number 6, it is of course the STB44 Bersza. That was easy. That one was quite easy to pronounce, the Bersza. So again, doesn't look as hideous as the tier 5, but it still looks, it doesn't look great. It looks quite small, to be fair. Now, I think the turret on this will be a little bit stronger. I think the hull on this will be quite weak. But again, you know, the tier 5s and tier 6s and potentially tier 7s, don't expect too much because they're not normally fantastic tanks when it comes to tech trees. So the tier 6 STB44 Bersza is coming as a Polish tank destroyer very, very soon. So moving on to tier 7, it is the SDB57 Gawa. Now, this is probably where the armor profile starts to take effect. Now, the tier 7 probably isn't going to be the best armor, but when you come up against this tank in tier 6s, I'm sure they will struggle to penetrate it. But again, I'm only speculating. It might be paper thin, it might be rock solid. I really do not know anything about these tanks at the moment, except for the feature that it has got. So I'm sure this tank will actually be okay. So the tier 7 Gawa, yeah, it looks okay, kind of like an IS, like a squashed ISU, kind of. But yeah, you know, time will tell if this will be a good tank. Moving on, tier number 8, STB58 Kana. Let's go with Kana. So this is probably where it's going to be very, very strong. Like, I think the armor profile, it looks solid. Honestly, it does look beastie. It really does. And I think this is where you're probably going to really want to start the line. If you've got 3 XP, yeah, you're probably going to want to start the line around tier 8, I should imagine. But yeah, it looks okay. Like, it doesn't look anything fancy. Again, it kind of looks like the ISU lines. But I think these will definitely have more armor profile. So that is the SDB58 Kana. Moving on to tier 9. Can't really see the front of it. I mean, it is the STB... what the hell? SDB60 Kana. I ain't got a freaking clue, guys. Honestly, Gonkiewicza? I don't know. I ain't got a clue. I'm ever so sorry to the Polish people out there. But yeah, I'm sure this again will be very, very good. Who knows? Who knows? But moving on to tier 10, the T10 NC70 Blast. Blaskowicza. Honestly, who makes these? Now, I'm assuming the tier 9 looks very, very similar to this tank, and I'm sure this is going to be the tank that everybody is going to want to get. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the tier 10. I'm looking forward to the Polish tank destroyers in general. Now, this is what we have from Wargaming. Now, of course, as mentioned, you all know it by now, the mechanic that this tank has got is the closer you are to the enemy, the more damage you do. And I love that, because there are some tank destroyers out there, and I wish this was actually in effect to more tank destroyers, because, you know, you've got tanks like the Grill. Of course, it doesn't work great close up because it just gets focused. It is a behind the enemy. It is the behind, like at the back of the map tank. That is what the Grill is for. The same kind of for things like the their FV4005, and of course there are some tanks out there, yes, they're tank destroyers, but you should never play them as a tank destroyer. E3, E4, tanks like that shouldn't be played as a tank destroyer. And with the Polish TDs, if you want to play it at the back of the map, that is absolutely fine, but you're going to be punished for it because you're going to lose damage. So if you're 3 bars above the range, so if you're between 0 to 70 meters, you will do max 100% damage. You're not going to get the max roll, of course, but you're going to get the max average damage on this tank. Now, if you get 2 bars between 70 and 105 meters, you're only going to do 70% of your max damage, and 1 bar 40% of your max damage. And if you're 0 bars, so if you are sat at the back of the map with this tank, you are only going to do 30% of your average damage, which is going to be very, very low, like very low. I'm not a maths, you know, but if you've got a 700 or if you've got an 800 alpha gun, then you're going to do way less than half of that. So you're going to do around 200 to 300 damage if you want to sit at the back of the map. So your DPM is going to have a massive hit if you want to sit at the back of the map. Like, that is the difference between these tanks. If you've got a 800 alpha gun, you play it at the front using your really good armor, you're going to do around about 800 damage. However, if you want to be a pussy as such, sit at the back of the map, you're only going to do 200 to 300 damage. That is a massive difference, and because it has to be a massive difference, because it gives you that incentive to actually play at the front. Like, if you're going to only do 30% of your damage, why would you want to sit at the back? There is no reason for you to sit at the back of the map. So that is the Polish tank destroyers coming in the game very, very soon. Let me know your thoughts on the tanks and the new mechanic. But for now, hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm meadsy69, and I will catch you all soon. Bye bye.